Well, main bearings really don't look that bad. I've seen worse out of engines that were still running that I pulled apart and didn't have an issue with. Everything don't look that bad. Crank trigger wheel is still good, which is one of the old school ones. We'll be keeping that. Be honest with you, the crank doesn't look bad either. This is the journal that's got the, I guess, the most hit out of it, but does have a little, you can feel just a little bit, so it might have destroyed the crank. I'm not too sure on that. It probably did. I mean, we had this rod explode on us here. So, and if you look at the caps and everything, that's what happens when you're outside when it's windy, but everything looks really good. I mean, these all look really good. And everything's pretty good there. And then you get over to this one, you can see a little bit of destruction to that bearing. I've seen way worse. A little bit of destruction to that bearing, but yet again, I've seen worse. It does have enough in here to grab your fingernail a little bit, right through here. So that's not good at all. I think that's when it snapped the rod. This rod snapped, and as you can see, come on, focus. Okay, here we go. As you can see, that rod hit quite a few things. This side didn't, but this side did. So it was still spinning around in there until it got stuck up against this side of the crank, which I knocked it out of there. And I think what happened there was it basically, I'm thinking that it basically, the crank was spinning in there with this rod stuck, and that could have caused a lot of this bearing wear. Now, I could be completely wrong. Comment in the comments if you guys would, what you guys think about that. You know, you guys think that's where the problem stemmed from? I mean, me personally, I'm going to go from the rod was bent, and then it left go. And when that left go, this was still down. It came up, clap, whoop, my bad. The rod bent, came up, hit this side skirt of the piston. I think on possibly both sides. This could even, when it broke, you know what I mean? It just hit like that. Because I think this might have came up and hit this right in here when it split, right? And this busted when it went. You can see here where it knocked something too. So this possibly could have, I don't know, but we got our wrist pin still loose. So it's, you know, I don't think we have an issue with a wrist pin failure. That's a fact. But it did come in here and hit it. I think that's pretty obvious, right? I think that happened. Is it a bearing that caused that? I don't think so. I think we bent the rod from so much boost. Before we had the small turbo in here, we were running around on the 62, 66 on 30 pounds of boost. So, I mean, the 5431's only going to make us around 450 with that housing that it has on it. 62, 66 will make anywhere from 350 to 850 horsepower. So that's probably, I'm thinking we bent that bent that rod. That's probably what was making a little bit of noise till it warmed up, kind of straightened it up, and eventually, you know, it going up and down, it just wore at a point where it just snapped and the rod went. But I don't know. That's my theory. I don't think it was a bearing issue, and there's no other issue here saying that, like, you know, an oil issue was a problem. I don't think oiling was an issue at all in this. Not one bit. Everything in here don't look blocked up, or, you know, it's not saying they don't have gunk in it, but I don't think that was a problem. You know, we only turn them to 7,000, 72 or 74, 7,200, 7,400. That's all the farther I take these things to stock. And it doesn't hurt them. I don't know, we got a little bit of wear here on this thrush washer. You can see too. I don't know if this all occurred after the fact that this rod slammed into here and then caused a lot of unbalancing in there, and you know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't think oiling or a bearing caused this. A lot of boost caused the bent rod, and we made this thing live on 30 pounds of boost. It came out of a junkyard, sat there for 15 years. I threw a 62, 66 on it, ran 30 pounds of boost through the damn thing. I mean, it made 414 on 22 pounds of boost, you know, on the 62, 66. So it was probably making close to 5. And, you know, probably getting close to the limits. We took that off, I think, somewhere in July, and then we started beating up on it on the 5431 on 30 pounds only. And then we bought the trailer in July, and that's when we started hearing the knocking. So I think we bent a rod from the big turbo. So the baby turbo, I don't think, is big enough to hurt one of these engines. Not unless there's a failure, you know what I mean? Oiling failure or something of that nature. I don't think the turbos can make enough power to hurt one of these engines. Anything underneath 450 horsepower is pretty damn reliable on one of these. Anything over 400, yeah, you're stretching it. Your tune better be good, put it that way. And E85 is a must. You can see the pistons, skirts, and everything are, I mean, clean. E85 life is just the only way to really go, to be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't go any other way. It'd be nice if we had 4 of those rods. We'd put an element together and go back at it, but or this been nice if that piston would have survived too, because somebody could have put 1.8s pistons on a 2.0 rod, bump the compression up a little bit and see how long one of those live in the silver car. I don't know. We're gonna play around with a lot of stock stuff in the silver car still, and we're gonna still continue to go out and push it every now and again. Not like we were with the black car continuously, but we get things to where we think we can get them right with the silver car. We're gonna take it out and see if we can't possibly eventually beat that 10.7. If we don't continue a lot of pushing with this car, we'll continue in the Accent, because the Accent's much lighter and it's probably the smarter platform to go with. For being lighter, easier on parts, easier on the motor, much easier on the transmission. I got my Accent and get it down, I'd say we'll be about 500 pounds lighter. So transmission should live pretty good. Possibly, you could possibly do some pretty good stuff in that light of a car. I mean, you're looking at 5/10. You know, it's possible 10 too. It's possible, I think. And who knows, even maybe a 9 if you get the car light enough. I don't know. Probably bored everybody, but thanks for watching, and subscribe. And we'll get back to work here. We got a lot to do, and expect an upload probably every week, at least once a week, maybe twice a week. When we start doing more than that, we get back to the track, it'll be every week, and get in the streets, we'll at least do it a couple days a week. I don't know. I like to get back in the video and every other day, really, but parts are hard to find for the last 2 years, and we're just finally getting all of ours that we ordered 2 years ago. Isn't that crazy, man? But all right, guys, thanks for watching.